Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. Today's book review is The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. Now, I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. It's a low 4 stars. So let me just jump right into my explanation, summary-ish kind of review, yada yada. So I actually read this book and I gave up on Interview with the Vampire. I'm just gonna tell you right now, can't stand Louis. Don't want anything to do with Louis. I can't deal with him. He is one of the whiniest vampires I've ever read. I can't do it. Like I really did try. And so then that's why I didn't want to continue with the series, but then my fiance, who really loves the series, said, give The Vampire Lestat a chance. He's also broody, a little whiny, but not as bad as Louis. And then when you get over this hump of Lestat talking about his past and explaining everything, then the books get better. So I was like, okay, we're gonna jump right into it, I guess. I was kind of holding out a little bit for Halloween, trying to make it like a Halloween read, but my fiance wasn't having it. He was like, you need to read it because I want to talk to you about it. I was like, okay. I read it in about a month, give or take. There were a lot of times where it was just so boring. And I think as a thing for whiny, broody men, because it starts off with Nick. He offs himself, then Louis takes over Nick's role. And sorry not sorry to say, I was happy that Nick offed himself, because I really think that he was holding Lestat back, and even just holding everyone he knew back in a weird way. Now, he did end up writing fantastic plays and music and yada yada for the vampire acrobatics theater, whatever, that Lestat helped set up in Paris. But I still don't think that's good enough. I don't know. He went crazy, and I can understand why, but also it's just too much. I was really interested in learning more, or I guess seeing more and learning more about Gabrielle, who is Lestat's mom. He turns her because she's about to die, and I totally understand that, but when you are given that freedom after you're stuck in a castle and all you can do is read, I don't think Lestat should have been so surprised that she wanted to do her own thing, so that was also like a little annoying. I had no interest, really, this is sad, but I really didn't have a lot of interest when Lestat was in Paris, and that was for a long time. I also have no interest in Armand. He's also like weirdly whiny, but he's not broody in a way. It's just kind of, it's weird. I don't know what to say about Armand. I kind of like him better in the movie. But I really became invested and interested when Lestat goes on his own to Cairo in Egypt and looks up, I guess you could say looks up, but Marius finds him, and Marius is taking care of the first male and female vampire who were turned by demons in like ancient Egypt, and that's why they're, you know, hanging out there. Well, they're like, Marius moves around with the vampires because you shouldn't know like where these vampires are type of thing. So they're not always just in Egypt. But I thought that it was a really intriguing story. It was really long, but it was still really intriguing. And that's when I was really fascinated with the lore and the story. In the beginning of this book, I was really having a great time because Lestat finally rose like 100 years or 150, 200, whatever years. It's been a long years since he laid down to rest, and a lot has changed. And then he finds out that Louis has a book out and is just trash talking Lestat, and so he's like, I'm gonna write my own book. And that's kind of what my fiance was talking about. You have to get over, if you can, Interview with the Vampire, where Louis is just talking shit and cannot stop brooding and whining and the self-pity, which I couldn't, so I skipped that book. But Lestat is kind of the same way, but not really, because he was turned by a very old vampire who went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, yes, and then offed himself. But he was turned by someone older and wiser, I guess you could say, and so he's a bit more powerful than others around him. And you continually see that progress through this book and then through the next books. He's basically becomes one of the most powerful vampires known to vampires and humans alike, which I think is really a good way to start off when he's telling his story as a human, and then you kind of progress through, but it's still boring. I have a bit of a problem with the writing Anne Rice does. There's a lot of flowery language and purple prose, and do you need to talk about this one thing for 5 pages? I don't think so. I don't think so. And when there's like 10 to 15 pages where there's no dialogue, I also have a problem with that. Her paragraphs can be really freaking long too, and that's not my type of writing that I really enjoy, and I don't write that way because it would be hypocritical of me to say that I don't like pages and pages of flowery language and crazy pretty prose and all that stuff, and then I do it. I'm just saying. So I know other people have a problem with the writing style that she has, but you do either give up or you accept it and you keep reading. So I accepted it and I kept reading, and I was happy to finish this book. Maybe in the long distant future I will go back and try to read Interview with a Vampire, but you know, we'll see. I think this is more than enough to understand what's going on for the rest of the series, especially if, like me, I watched the movie at least 10 times. I don't know why, but I watched it at least 10 times throughout the year, so I know the vibe, I know what's going on. Do I know every single detail? No. But then again, do I want to know every single detail about Louis? No. I'm okay with knowing every single detail about Lestat, though it's kind of pushing it in some chapters and in some parts of this novel. I'm like, I don't completely care about a few things, but that's just Anne Rice for you. Now, I'm really excited to continue on because in this novel, we learn about, as I said, the first male and female vampire, and they are ultra creepy. Now, I didn't think that they would be creepy, but reading the scenes where they're interacting with Marius and Lestat, I was like, okay, yeah, I get it, creepy, because they don't talk and they're stone figure-ish, and then they just move. And I can picture it in my head, and it's uncomfortable. Like, you see a stone statue, they're pale as the freaking moon, because they're just hidden inside like a freaking vault for all of eternity, basically. And then they're just there, and then maybe they'll do this. This is like, it's like a weird robotic, it's like stony, and then they might do it like really slow, but you can kind of notice, and then other times it's really fast, and Lestat freaks the hell out, and I'm like, I'm freaking out because this freaking Akasha just keeps doing weird stuff, and I'm feeling like a little sketchy right here. And then also Enkeel does some sketchy stuff too, and I'm like, which side am I on? I don't understand what's completely happening between these two, but that's kind of the point, right? And so there is a point at the end of the book where Lestat is speaking to Akasha, and she wants to be free, right? And so I was talking to my fiance because in the book it also says Enkill holds Akasha back, and they were kind of fighting in one scene, and Lestat freaks out and then runs away, and he's like, Marius, what did I do? I didn't mean to do it. And Marius like, you need to get out. Like, you need to go. I have to clean up this mess. Go away. Live your life in New Orleans and leave me alone, because you did some stuff that is not good. Which, yeah, because they're kind of like fighting it out, and Akasha wants to escape and live her life and, you know, do whatever she wants to do. And that, I thought at first, was, oh, her husband is abusive and won't let her leave. And then that was what I said to my fiance in passing. He's like, wait, you're getting this information from Lestat and from Akasha. You have no idea what Enkill is thinking about. And he gave me a spoiler, which I'll give it to you right now. He, the husband, Enkill, is holding back Akasha because she's so violent, and she wants to basically kill or turn all the humans on Earth and be Queen of the Damned, as in it's just all vampires. And so I'm like, okay, I understand now. He's not abusive. He's trying to save the human race. Oh, thank you. Great. Love you, Enkill. I know you're trying your best. It might not be his best, because I don't know if he gets killed later or not. I know there's a huge problem between these two, and, well, also Lestat and Marius, so between the four. There's a big problem brewing. I think it happens in Queen of the Damned. I'm waiting for Halloween to start reading that, just so I have a Halloween-themed book, at least. But I am fascinated for that story and for the upcoming books, and it's all cemented in the Vampire Lestat, even though it's slow, even though there's a lot of writing techniques that I don't care for, and there's a lot of scenes that I don't care about, and there's a lot of characters that you just need to go away, you need to die. I don't, like, just leave the page. I can't deal with you right now. It's still a 4 out of 5 star book, and we're going to continue the series. I have high hopes, kind of, sorta, because my fiance says you just have to get through the first 2 books. I just had to get through this book, and then it'll get better. So let's see. Thank you so much for watching my book review on The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice.